What's up, everybody? Ryan Turford here, and welcome to another unboxing over on youtube.com/Ryan Turford. But this time around, we're back with an old favorite. That's right, Video Games Monthly is back, and I know I'm showing you this box is just a plain cardboard box. You wouldn't even know it's Video Games Monthly unless I told you it's Video Games Monthly. There was a label on top that, said it was from Video Games Monthly. So Video Games Monthly, for those that don't know, who are kind of new to the channel or just new to the service in general, it's a retro gaming subscription service where essentially you give them money every single month. You tell them how many games you want, and there's like 3, 4, 5, or 10 games, and there's different price points depending on how many games you want. You tell them what systems you're collecting for, and they will send you a box every single month with new games in it. Obviously, you can also put in your library on their website, so you don't actually have to worry about duplicates or anything like that, as long as you update your list. I mean, it doesn't update automatically, or likewise, if you pick up stuff on your own, obviously, it's one of those things where there's only so much they can do about that. But the reason I'm back is my time with Video Games Monthly is always like intermittent, and that just has to do a lot with my personal budgeting for retro games, like whether or not because there are going to be certain months where I'm just not really looking to pick up retro games at all. So that it's one of those things where I usually just cancel the service at that point and then just resubscribe when I'm, ready to dive back in. Not only that, but since I've moved to London, there haven't really been like very many opportunities to go look at retro games in person. And of course, eBay's just, a cluster of stuff. So it's interesting looking for games now versus, 2 years ago, when the world kind of changed. So, that's why I'm actually back with Video Games Monthly. Is like, it gives me a good way to add more retro games to my collection at a reasonable price, without having to, worry about, going out and finding them in person, especially because, again, in the area I live in now, there are no retro game stores. So it's like, I mean, there might be 1 or 2 in town, but for the most part, they're so far away from where I'm currently living that it's tough to do. So at this point, this is probably my best option to jump into these. So I subscribe to the 10 game package. So there's going to be a lot of games in here. Again, they sent it in a generic cardboard box this time, and as opposed to their normal branded box. I think that just has to do a lot with the consoles I requested. So I requested PSP, PS2, PS1, and Dreamcast games. So those are the consoles that I'm really looking for right now. In particular, I am moving towards kind of collecting a lot more disc-based stuff. Don't get me wrong, I love cartridge-based stuff like NES stuff. And there might be next month, I might actually throw N64 back on the list because I do really like the N64 a lot. That's probably like the only cartridge-based console I'm actually really looking for games for right now. So at the same time, I've gotten really into collecting PS2 games, PS1 games recently. So I thought that this would actually be a great way to kind of, dive into some of these things and kind of see what Video Games Monthly has to offer with PS1 and PS2 games. Because I think I've done PS1 in the past with them before. I don't think I've ever done PSP or PS2 though. And I've done Dreamcast with them as well, but we didn't really receive that many Dreamcast games very often. I don't really expect to, because I mean, Dreamcast games are kind of rare or expensive, especially for there's not as many, smaller, more budget titles. So anyways, it just feels like there's just discs upon discs, just all the way up to the brim, some sealed stuff in here as well. I'm actually really excited about that. So first off, I'm actually really excited to see this. I saw a spoiler for this already, but this is an awesome get. This is a Video Games Monthly branded 1-Up cleaning card. So folks at home, if you have cartridge-based games and you want to clean them, the 1-Up card's actually a really great way of cleaning your game cartridges. Basically, you put your fluid, like whether it's alcohol or the 1-Up card branded cleaning fluid on one end, and then you have like a dry side, so you clean it with the fluid side, and then you kind of scrub it clean with the dry side. It's actually really simple and easy to use. I definitely prefer using something like this versus Q-tips or something like that, which is what I was using before I started using 1-Up cards. So I actually think this is a really awesome addition to this box. So huge thank you to Video Games Monthly for sending that as part of, the monthly box. They always throw in a throw-in like that. Usually it's a Video Games Monthly branded piece of merchandise, like a pen or something like that. But anyways, let's jump into these. I'm not going to be doing gameplay footage for some of these, just because I think it's going to be a lot harder to find some of this stuff, or there might be none of that, but there's going to be so many games that I'm just not going to be able to handle all, capturing all these. So also, quick reminder to, of course, update your library, all that good stuff. Also, win 3 free games if you post your box on Facebook. And then a advertisement for the 1UP cleaning card, everything I just talked about. 1upcard.com is the website, so go check them out there. Again, they make awesome products, so go check them out there. Highly recommended. Oh, we got another card. We got a 2UP. So we've actually got 12 games in this box. That would probably, again, explain the box shape that they had to send this time around. So I'm excited to get into some of these. So first up, we got a loose PS1 game by the looks of it on the back here. We got Namco Museum. So this has a bunch of Namco games in it. Pac-Man, Galaga, whole bunch of Dig Dug, whole bunch of other games from Namco on the PlayStation 1. I'm excited to check this out. I have this, I think, on Game Boy Advance, but I don't actually have it on any other consoles. Maybe I'm going to have a PS2 copy in here at some point. Who knows? But Namco Museum, I think this is actually a pretty fun collection of games, so glad to have that in the collection. I'm not actually a huge fan of disc-only games, mind you, but at the same time, it's just one of those things where I'm expecting in a box like this to probably get some of those. But next up, feels like a complete in-box game, PS1 game, or Dreamcast. We got boxing, just generic boxing. It kind of reminds me of like a Atari, 2600 game. I didn't even know they had just, boxing on its own, but it is complete in box with the manual and the disc. Let me just check the disc condition. It doesn't look like it was resurfaced or anything like that. Very small, like smudges, easy to clean up, but there's kind of like a big gash, a bunch of gashes actually in the thing. It doesn't feel like there's some bubble wrap on the sides, but there's none on the top. So I imagine if this box got, bumped around a lot in transit, it could have been damaged. It also could have been damaged at the warehouse, but luckily I've got a lot of CD replacement cases like this. So that's actually a really easy thing to fix. So boxing, there we go. I'm also, you're probably noticing by now as well, I'm putting prices along the bottom as well. It's one of those things too, where a box like this, even if it doesn't reach like the financial value, I put a lot of verification in the fact that they do the curation of the box. I don't have to go hunt these games for myself, and almost think of that as like a convenience fee. So, and a lot of times it's usually only like $5 or $10 less than the value if I just bought them on their own. Again, assuming that you can even get them on eBay, for example, at the lowest prices they're available. So just to throw that out there. So that's a thing. Next up, we got Moto Racer World Tour, another sports game, but this is a racing game. There's no manual, but again, not a big deal, especially because, again, this is a sports game. I'm a lot more picky about it when it's, my more expensive titles or RPGs and stuff like that. I like to have the manuals for, RPGs or survival horror games and stuff like that. But for sports games, not a big deal to me if I'm missing the manual. I certainly don't mind. And it's actually a lot easier to find a manual versus like having to find the whole backing of the case or even just finding like the whole case itself. So I don't mind when the manual is missing like that. So there we go. Moto Racer World Tour on the PlayStation 1. Never heard of it. Just seems like a dirt biking game. So these next two games feel like they're disc only. So we got another PS1 game. We've got Team Rocket Rescue. I believe this is a Nickelodeon Rugrats game from the looks of it. Extreme sports game. And it looks like this is Trent Holster's game. So Trent, I've got your game. And the copy itself seems clean enough other than the writing. Like, I don't know who writes their name on a game disc. It seems weird to me that you do that. But we got a Rugrats game here. I'm not really a huge Rugrats fan, but I like, extreme sports games. So I'm glad if we're getting sports games at all in these boxes, that it's, of the extreme sports variety, because I'm extreme to the max. That's just my thing. All right. And then last game, and I think this is probably the last PS1 game or possibly Dreamcast game. We've got another PS1 game. We've got Motocross Mania. So another racing game. So at least, again, I'm assuming it's a racing game featuring, motocross. Looks like it's a Take-Two game. In fact, this label, I don't know if this is the real label. It probably is. Like, I don't think Video Games Monthly would send a game with a fake label, but I don't know if it's supposed to actually be, black and white, especially because the PlayStation logo seems real faded on it. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up after I'm done, because I've never seen, the disc for Motocross Mania. Maybe it's supposed to be like that. I don't know. But there you go. There's Motocross Mania. In fact, that's two, black and white label games kind of in a row. But definitely I know that the Rugrats one, I'm pretty sure that one's supposed to be like that. So next up, feels like we got a PSP game. In fact, I think we might have a couple PSP games here. This one's sealed as well. So let's check it out. We got Lord of Arcana. This is from Square Enix. It looks like on the back, again, I've never actually heard of this game. I think this is actually an action RPG from the looks of it. I'm excited to check this one out because, again, I don't really know anything about this one. I think I've seen this in other people's boxes as well. So I know that this isn't really something that was just sent to me. But at the same time, I actually am excited to check this one out. Again, Square Enix games, I'm actually really excited always to get in a box like this, especially because I love role-playing games. It's just such a big thing for me. So I'm excited to check that one out. And then the next one, again, also feels like a sealed PSP game. We got Hot Shots Golf Open Tee Tour. Man, a lot of sports games in this box. And racing games in this box. I was not expecting that. So again, sealed Hot Shots Golf. I think the Hot Shots Golf games are actually really fun. It's cool that it's sealed. So obviously we know it's complete. It's got everything in it. And it feels like actually a hefty game. Maybe there's like a really hefty manual in here. But I'm excited to check this one out. Again, I like the Hot Shots Golf series. I've never really played the PSP games at all, the PSP versions of Hot Shots. So I'm actually excited to check this one out because I think these games are actually really fun and that might actually be a pretty cool game. So now I think what we've got left is just PS2 games, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them left. Or maybe there's more PSP games. I don't know. Hold the phone. Next up, this is definitely a PSP game. We got Siphon Filter Logan's Shadow. So this was actually like a really beloved game when it came out. I actually really like the Siphon Filter series, so I'm actually really happy to have this in my collection, believe it or not, because I've heard a lot of great things about it, but I've never played the PSP version of this game, and I'm definitely excited to check this out. Of course, it's like a stealth game, kind of a spy game, very similar to like the James Bond games or Splinter Cell, but it's a lot more like lighthearted in tone than something like Splinter Cell. So I've actually heard a lot of good things about this one, so I'm excited to check this out. All right, next up, I think this might be the last of the PSP games, and it's also sealed. We got Hot Shots Tennis Get a Grip. So another sports game. Again, I don't mind sports games. I actually think they're fun. And actually, Hot Shots Tennis in particular, probably a really fun game. I've never played any of the Hot Shots Tennis games. Again, I like the Hot Shots, sports series, but I've never played the Hot Shots Tennis games. So I'm actually excited to check this one out. Again, this one's sealed as well. We're kind of on the sealed PSP parade. I mean, we got 4 sealed PSP games this month. So I'm excited to crack those out of the package and check those out. So, we got another PSP game, another one that's sealed too. So let's check this one out. We got Wipeout Pure. Now this one I'm actually really familiar with because I used to actually have a copy of this game. I ended up selling it a long time ago. But I remember having a lot of fun with this game. This is a fun anti-gravitational racing game from Sony Liverpool, rest in peace. I think this game really awesome. So I'm actually excited to check this out because I did used to actually have a really big PSP collection. But after, moving a bunch of times and stuff like that, I ended up actually selling a lot of my collection, which makes me sad because I kept some of them, like Crisis Core, Jeanne d'Arc, and some other games. But this one was one of the ones that was on the chopping block. So I'm actually glad to have this one in my collection again. So 5 sealed PSP games. That's pretty awesome. So I think now we're just down to PS2 games, and I think there's 2 left. So let's jump into this one. I just spoiled myself on it, pulling it out of the box. It is SOCOM US Navy SEALs 3. Believe it or not, I've only played the SOCOM games on the PSP before. I've never actually played the PlayStation 2 SOCOM games. I just wasn't really into games like this at the time that they were coming out when the SOCOM games were kind of a big deal anyways, back in the early 2000s. So I'm actually excited to check this out. Again, I've never played one of these before. Again, I've seen a lot of people get this one in particular this month. So I'm actually glad to have something like this in my collection because, again, I've never played any of the games in this franchise and I've only heard good things about it from people who like, Ghost Recon or other, military style games. All right. Last game, our 12th game. Man, it's a lot of games. I'm so glad I'm not doing, gameplay capture for this because it just would have taken forever with so many games. Oh, I have it upside down again. We have Luxor Pharaoh's Challenge on the PlayStation 2. Again, this is also sealed. This comes to us from Mumbo Jumbo. It's the name of the company that makes this. But it looks like a puzzle game, like an Egyptian-themed puzzle game by the looks of it, where you've got some balls and you're trying to match the ball colors here and trying to eliminate them to kind of like stop the train of balls coming in. Yeah. Seems like a fun game. I like puzzle games, so I'm glad to add this one to my collection. Again, I don't really know much about this one at all. So there you go. That is our haul of games. So what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to cut this. I'm going to go kind of total up the value that we've got here, and then I'm going to move on to final impressions, what I think overall of the box. We're back. So I went ahead and totaled everything up. And again, you should be seeing this along the bottom of your screen here. $96.90. That's pretty dang good anyways for the price charting thing. Of course, I'm going by Canadian prices because I live here in Canada, which is about a little bit more actually than the cost of the box, which is awesome to see. It's $79.99 US dollars, I believe, for the price of the box. So pretty awesome to see. Pretty nice haul of games. Although I will say that a lot of these are sports games, which are always going to be hit or miss with a lot of people. Again, I don't mind sports games as much as long as there's also some other games that I'm excited about, or if they're like arcade sports games, like the Hot Shots golf games, because I know that those are solid and fun. So I'm actually really excited to check those out. I also did a little bit of digging during the break about Motocross Media because I wasn't sure about that disc cover. It seemed a little bit faded combined with the fact that I was playing black and white. I was like, that looks weird to me. But then I looked it up on Google and that's just what it looks like. So again, I wasn't, thinking, there was any foul play here. I was just, for my own edification, I needed to know about it. And since I brought it up earlier, I want to bring it up here real quick and kind of correct myself. So I kind of want to run through real quick before we go my top three for this box, the games I'm just most excited to play. And they're all PSP games because I think that's where the bulk of the games that really excited me for this box really came from, which is awesome because I have like a pretty small PSP collection at the moment, and I'm really looking to grow that collection. So I'm glad that I've got like a few really good PSP games. So I'm going to start with Siphon Filter Logan's Shadow. Again, really excited to check this one out again on the PSP. I know it's awesome. I love games like this, like spy games and stuff like this. So really excited to check this one out. My second pick is one that I played before that I talked about, Wipeout Pure. Again, I think this is actually like a really solid racing series, really underrated racing series that I just think people that, didn't really play games in this generation really missed out on anyways. So I definitely think this is a solid game, solid pickup, and I'm glad to have it. And then my number one pick, which was actually oddly enough, the most expensive game at $13 Canadian, was Lord of Arcana. Again, I love role-playing games. I love Square Enix. So when you give me a Square Enix role-playing game that I've never played before in a box, it's always going to be probably my most excited thing. So there you go. That's what I think about this box. Again, it was a pretty good box overall. Again, there's some stuff here I'm probably not going to spend too much time with, like, PS1 boxing, or, the motocross games in particular, both, Moto Racer World Tour and Motocross Media, but I'll at least, try them out, see if I can get into them and kind of go from there. And I'm really interested to see what we get next month, because I think this was a good thing overall, and I'm excited to see where the service goes from here. So folks, what do you think about this box? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you want to check out more of my content, head over to youtube.com/YumiCapri, because we do podcasts, we do other videos over there, reviews and stuff like that. So go check out all of our content over on Yumi Capri. I'm hosting on a bunch of shows over there. And last but not least, if you want to reach out to me anytime, you can reach out to me on Twitter at Ryan Turford. And otherwise, I hope you all have an amazing day. Thank you so much for checking out this video unboxing Video Games Monthly for February of 2022. And I'll see y'all again next month.